What is going on, Facebook friends? I am pumped about this day. Can't wait to get started. I got to tell you, this has been a long time coming, and I am glad that you are joining me, and I look forward to whatever this turns out to be. I actually have some plans for it. It's not like it's just some sporadic thing. But that being said, I want to get started right away. And the first thing I really want to do is welcome you to this first week of what I'm calling the Weekend Warriors. That is the Weekend Warriors, because if you're looking to change your life in some way and you're always finding the excuses as to why you can't do that thing or why you can't, participate in life the way that you desire it, then what I'm really hoping for is that this becomes that space where you begin to learn how you can use your weekends, and then maybe even throughout the weeks, learn how to find a path, if you will, into your truest self. So, as you are joining, if you don't mind, if you can hear me, if you don't mind typing yes to let me know, I'm going to make sure real quick that I can hear myself. Hold that thought. Let me look here. Where'd you go? If you can hear me, type yes. I need someone to let me know. I bet I'm gonna be able to hear. There it is. I can hear myself. So we're good to go. We're moving forward. Let's see what we can do here now. Here's the deal, guys. I would love to kind of get started with you guys right away. What I'm really hoping for today is that we begin to formulate a deeper sense of community, one that allows us to more freely express ourselves on this page and in things to come. We've got a lot of really great things happening on this Less is More page, and I'm pumped to just kind of see where we can go. I'm pumped to see how we can expand this community. My intensity about my life right now is that I am so incredibly driven by wanting to see and be an inspiration to people. First and foremost, that starts with me living that inspirational life and helping you guys through the inspirational messages that I can come up with to really begin to be driven by something much deeper than maybe the things that we've chosen to be driven by in our life. You see, the very words inspire means in spirit. And that premise is that we live this life so much in the physicality, in this skin that we've got going on here. And I really want to make sure that we begin to open that up. So this is about us beginning to explore what a life would look like if we could begin to live by this deeper sense of something much bigger than we are, our collective self, the way that we are all connected in some way. You're here for a reason. There is definitely not just some randomness about this life. There is a purpose in how we have been brought together. But before we get started, I wanted to thank one of our sponsors that I know is going to continue to help us grow. It's the I Love You So Much, and you can see the link here in the invitation. There's a link that will connect you with I Love You So Much. Go check them out. There's always such great inspiration there. There's a huge diversity of people, and I love being a part of that community, and I love being able to share a message of hope and joy, and that's really what this is all about for us. As you join, whether you're here live or you're coming in later, what I'd love for you to do is go ahead and type in below where you're coming from. I want to know where you're tuning in from, because it inspires me to know the reach that this thing brings. It inspires me to know how this impacts people across the world. This morning I had an amazing discussion and have continued to have lots of discussions with people along the way, but this particular person reached out to me not too long ago. He's a gentleman that's a refugee, and it's blown my mind how encouraging he has been to me. He has randomly, without asking for anything from me, has continually reached out to me to tell me, bless you, to say goodnight to me every night. And, at first we would kind of go, whoa, this is kind of strange, but truth is, it came at a time when I really needed that sense of growth in my life, where my world expanded. And really, that's what this world is about. That's what our lives are about. It's all about an expansion of who we are into this world of who we are together. And beyond that, we got to understand that the whole world and the universe around us is continually expanding around us. Oh, hello. That's Hema. Did I say that correct? From India. Thank you for being here. Chelsea, thanks for being here. I'm excited to have you guys. And I look forward to getting to know you guys more. So feel free to jump in, ask questions along the way. But let's go ahead and kind of get into what the message that I'd like to share with you today is. Let me kind of look here at what I got going on. So, I have a question for you. It's a question that I really enjoy asking because it's something that is key to how we grow. Questions are the key to life. And I love to approach questions in a way that come at it from a positive perspective, where we're where we are finding solutions, living into something that we are good at, living into our strengths, not focusing in on our weaknesses and things that kind of hold us back. I mean, if you're like me, I get in my head sometimes, and that's exactly where my headspace goes. And too often, it's so frustrating. That's where we get stuck. But what I want to do today is ask you this question. Are you ready? No matter where you're from, and trust me, it's a big question. If you had endless resources, what would your world look like today? Would you still be doing exactly what you're doing? Would you have a whole nother dream? Would you have a whole nother reality that you would want to be living into? If you had literally anything and everything at your fingertips, what would you be doing in this life today? Share with me while you're here. Go ahead and type that in. I'd love to, hear some responses as we go through this. But I got to tell you, it's one of those questions that has been at the heart and the core of who I am. I've done many things in this life. I've done everything. I've been an entrepreneur right out of school. After being an entrepreneur for like 7 years, I went back to school and got my Master's of Divinity and thought I would live my life in the world of ministry, and found out that what I really was looking for was something so much bigger than what just simply a religion could offer. And as a result of that, I broke back out and went back into the entrepreneurial world. I've been in real estate, and I just found that I was constantly chasing after the physical things of this world. That feeling of, well, how can I put it? Chasing after the dollar, chasing after the Joneses, chasing after the things that this world is constantly telling me are important for my life, the things that are going to make me important, chasing after relationships that maybe weren't even the best for me, and conforming myself to a different standard than the one that I really, really desired for my own life. I've got a beautiful family with kids, and I've wanted to inspire them and encourage them to be who they truly are, to find their gifts, to build upon those gifts, to empower them with the resources they need to be able to make decisions on their own. We live in a world that is constantly trying to tell us these things that are, I don't know what you might, they're trying to tell us that these are the rules that we have to live by. Whatever culture, whatever country you're from, you are ingrained, born into an enculturated mindset that is driving us to be a certain way. And there's not very much room for making decisions. And the struggle is that what happens in that moment is that we fall asleep. We don't even ever wake up into some other reality. We just continually conform and plug away at the things that this world tells us that we're supposed to do. Well, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to share with you that a few things that I believe are driving us. And one of those things is your why. And you may be going, what are you talking about, Les? Is this like a purpose question, your purpose in life? And it kind of is, but it's much deeper than that. You see, so many of us live with a why, something that breaks down because it's based upon all those physical things that we're told will make us happy in this world. That physical reality, that physical thing that we chase after, even your family, even the people in your life, the relationships that you have. Those things are the things that are keeping us held back. And what we don't realize is when we start focusing on the physicality, we start realizing our limitations because we start to close in around ourselves. We start to create a world that breaks down for us, that doesn't allow us to really expand and understand who we are. Now, here's the key. Let's come back to the question. If you had endless resources, what in the world would you do? Chelsea says that she would travel. Travel would be a big one. Excuse me, choking up here. Let me get some water. Chelsea says that she would travel, and that would be a big thing on her list of things to do. And that's a beautiful image. But I want to take you even further. The why of your life, the thing that really drives you, is something that is much bigger than all of us. If you don't believe me for a second, I want you to just pause with me and take a deep breath in. Now let it out. Now take a deep breath in and hold it. See how long you can hold it. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. I will guarantee you that after a certain amount of time, unless you pass out on the floor, which will still cause the same result, you will begin to breathe without even trying. You can't help it. You can't stop yourself from breathing aside from doing something drastic. And beyond that, your heart will continue to beat. Whether you try to stop it, you can't even stop it. And we are driven by something so much bigger than we are. We think we have so much control in this life. We think that we are on target with so many things that we are on point with how we should be living this life. But the truth is that we have a limited amount of control over so much that goes on around us unless we begin to connect with one another. And that control is not mine or yours individually, but it's something that we as a collective whole can begin to breathe more life into. Those resources that are endless are absolutely at your fingertips. You know, the crazy thing is that nature has this figured out. Nature understands. They don't go around worrying about, let me rephrase that. The trees do not go around worrying about whether or not it's going to rain or not. They just sit and wait and know that the energy that produces in this world will grow within us and continue to grow. And what the next big thing that we got to recognize in this life is that when we begin to focus in on ourselves so much, we create within us something that is broken. We create in ourselves something that is hiding within us, that we hide within us, that we protect ourselves, that we don't let other people in. And that's not what we were built for. We were built to participate in this grand thing, this bigger thing called creation. Let me see. I got a couple of things that I also want to share with you. Hema says, no one will care about us like we imagine. How to get out of that? I think that is a great question. I think that there's some things that will continue to play out here. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. In our world, we are living in a world where we got to begin to understand that this is a process. This is a process for me individually to reconnect myself into the world, to risk myself, I don't mean to make it sound so dramatic, that sounds silly, but to risk my personal self in producing videos where people can then say mean things to me and try to hurt me with their words. It's amazing how many people are out there that want to tear down people that want to build you up. But we've got to learn to be resilient in that. And I think some of these things are going to help you. And the first thing that I really want to talk about today is the things that are holding us back, I believe, are three things. Three things today that I want to discuss. There's several things that this plays out in many different facets. The first thing is, we are spiritual beings living in a physical reality. Now, what do I mean by this? We have this idea in our minds that, and many people really are averted to the idea of anything spiritual. And even in denying it, we don't realize that you're not actually able to make it not true. We know that there is something so much more that goes on. We believe that in chasing after the physical realities of this world, that somehow we're going to be fulfilled. And the real truth is, what we've got to begin to discover about ourselves is that there's something deep within us. We are connected to this whole thing. And when we can begin to see that and understand that our expansion, our ability within us to expand our lives and open ourselves up, that we begin to be those who are courageous and go out in this world and really start to build a better place, to co-create in this world with God, with whatever you want to call it, the cosmos, with this thing that is continually building and growing. You know, our universe is not shrinking, it's expanding all the time. And we ourselves are constantly evolving into something completely different than we were 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years ago. We've come into this place as a result of this creative force that I call God, that within me has created a collective mind among us. We've all felt it. We've all had those moments where we hurt when we see someone that gets hurt. We feel deeply. We feel that deep-seated connection. And for me, it happens right in here. Can anyone relate to what I'm talking about? Because if you can, I'd love you to type yes, because I really believe that this is something that is key to our understanding. And what we don't understand about what happens when we don't recognize that spirituality within us, we get sucked into this physical realm that all it produces within us is a disconnect. And that disconnect produces dis-ease. Yes, that word combined is disease, excuse me, I didn't even say it right. But dis-ease is the result of our playing into this life in a way that believes it's only about the physical prowess and the physical things that we can collect and build in our lives. As an entrepreneur, the temptation is to chase after those things. But the realization that I have come to is that when we begin to focus in on the collective whole, when we no longer accept average, and maybe you've seen me talk about this before, but when we no longer accept average as something that we're going to settle for, but instead what we do is we begin to say, I will accept average when average raises its game. When we begin to, from the bottom up, bring folks up and equalize the playing field for life. And not everybody wants this. For whatever reason, we've got this world that has collectively created this mindset that we've got to fight every step along the way. We're so afraid of what the future holds that we believe that the answers we've got, that the walls we place around ourselves, that the things that we have, the cars that we drive, the clothes that we wear, the kids that we have, the way they play their sports, the way they become successful or they don't, that somehow those are the things that define us. But the truth of it is that, and this is the second thing, that our definition does not come from within ourselves. Our definition comes when we begin to recognize ourselves among the whole. Because what is a name less if there's no other person around that needs a name? How do you differentiate this? How do you know that I'm even talking to you now without the background that's behind me? You see, I am not alone, and it takes the full picture in order for any one of us to be able to fully succeed in this life. And when we begin to see these small things in our lives that begin to build up in our brains so big and so giant, then we lose sight of the reality of our lives. We let those small things like bills, or the things that seem so big, like even food on a table. And I don't mean to be insensitive, because I know there are plenty of people who are really struggling. They don't have water and food. But we have solutions for that. There's more food and water in this world, the resources that are abundant in our world. And we go around instead creating more distinctions among ourselves by separating ourselves out as even those who want to take care of the earth. And we do so even to the detriment of those around us, to the people that are around us, those that can really truly make an impact. We do this at so many different levels. I do it in my own family sometimes. I mean, good grief, if I think I don't have the answer for everything for my wife. I mean, she could tell you, she's here. Am I correct, wife? But really, it's one of those situations where I truly find myself so often trying to segregate myself out and to control the world around me, when really we were meant to do the very thing that we mentioned earlier, and that's breathe. To breathe in and to participate. And when we do that and we trust that the resources and the provisions of the next day are going to be there the same way they are today, that this moment, this very moment, the only moment that we have, doesn't have to produce any kind of fear within us, but instead can produce courage. Courage to go out there and love someone that maybe even resists our love. That we can go out there and love our enemies, because when we love our enemies, guess what happens? We no longer have enemies. Anybody here have enemies or people that they don't like or think that they don't like them? Let me know. If you've got that kind of situation playing out, I'd love to hear from you. But here's the deal. In loving others, there is a risk. And the risk is not anything that is mine per se, because it understands something beyond the physical. The risk is literally that our physical well-being may be threatened. And what I mean by that is that we then begin to have to break free from disease. That when we begin to love one another, we lose the brokenness of the physical realm. We don't focus in on the pain, but we begin to touch and reach out in compassionate and loving ways to those that are around us. My deepest desire is to inspire others, in business leaders, political leaders, home leaders, fathers, mothers, children who are growing up in a world where they've been enculturated with these beliefs that seem to hold us back from truly being an expansive people, and to grow that in a way that allows the pain of dis-ease to be broken. The sickness and the pain, and this is the third point that I want to bring to you today. Sickness and dis-ease are literally born from a heart that is so internally focused. Not for the better, not for the good, but in a victimized sort of way. In a way that looks at their situation in life and I granted, I mean, the color of my skin, the gender that I am, the lifestyle that I live, the place that I was born plays a lot into this struggle. I recognize that. And this is not an individual struggle. This is a community struggle. But the brokenness of what is happening in a culture like mine, it's hidden behind glitz and glamour and beautiful things and shiny objects. And yes, my stomach is filled, but so many people in our world, their hearts are not filled. They are so stuck in their minds, and they're so stuck in the thoughts that continually tear them down. I love the term that ants is one that Jim Quick from Mind Valley talks about regularly. It's that automatic negative talk that breaks into our brains. That is a form of dis-ease that creates physical realities at a cellular level. There are tons of studies that show how that is real, how literally when you speak over another person, things that are evil and mean and hateful and ugly, that you create within that a situation where the body literally shrivels, literally at a cellular level, you begin to lose energy. I love so many things that Tony Robbins does, and one of those that he does is fantastic. I mean, try this for just a second. Ready? Okay. What I want you to do is I do this to my son, and this isn't Tony Robbins. This is a take from something else that I've done, but I want you to do this. Now, literally, if you don't do this with me, I'm going to look like a fool on live Facebook. This is not okay. You got to do it with me. So here we go. Everybody, can I get a commitment that you're going to do this? Show me a commitment. Come on, say yes. I know you want to. There's only 3 of you. You've all got to do this. So here we go. We're going to do it anyways. I'm going to do it. And if you're watching this later, please take a second to do this. I can't tell you how many times when my son literally is in a place where where he's resistant, his attitude is not okay, he's angry, he's sad, whatever it is. This one little thing, watch how this will change your body composition. If you act enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic. If you act enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic. If you act enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic. And I'm enthusiastic. Now, I don't care how cheesy you think that might be. But look how I'm smiling. I can't stop smiling because I just let it all out. I just gave myself good energy. I told my body how to respond. And when we do those kinds of things, we can literally break free from disease. Now, I know this is a small level and you're going, well, what about cancer and what about, heart conditions and all these things? I'm just telling you that when we begin to understand ourselves at a spiritual level, living this physical reality, we can begin to take the physical realm and begin to make it submissive to the spiritual realm. We can do this in our business. We can do this in our families. We can do this within ourselves. We can do this within our communities. I can't tell you how many times people that I know, I've walked into a place and they have a sense about who I am in a way that gives them ease, not dis-ease. I've been in situations where there's huge crisis and I literally can just touch someone or give them a hug or tell them I love them or bless them or honor them or give them a gift or do something. And the way that they light up in that moment produces at a cellular level regeneration. When we breathe in life, when we breathe, this most basic thing that we have a key to the medicine within us. Because breathing and noticing our breath brings us to the present moment. You can't go somewhere else when you're in the future and think about the future while also focusing in on your breath. You can't go back and relive the past of your life if you stop and you just breathe. You can't. Being in the present moment and being more focused on those around you and the people around you, while it may sometimes feel risky and putting yourself out there, I mean, come on, I just did something completely silly and good grief. I mean, that's what it is. It is what it is. That's me, Mr. Silly Les. But I'm finding that when we begin to break down and we begin to be authentic people, humans, truly human, and understanding that a human was born out of creation in the identity of the Creator, that we contain within us DNA that is divine. And I know that we have not gone there in the world that I was born up in Christianity, and many other religions haven't quite gone there, but so many others understand that the human essence, the human identity is wrapped up in something so much bigger, the larger, much larger self that is creation. And so I encourage you today, and as we move forward in this, to understand that the resources that you think are limiting you in this life are really not. That when we begin to utilize our brain in a way that connects us to this river, this flow that has been created for us, this thing that no matter what happens continues to cycle on, when we align our will and our desires with it, what we begin to realize is that it knew all along what we wanted. The law of attraction is great, and maybe there's some truth about how that plays out. But the only thing that I can understand about the law of attraction is it's not something that I want. It's something that when I was created and born into this world, that I already knew that I wanted. And that it wasn't what I wanted, it was what this whole thing wanted. And when it was born, I began to create an agenda of my own. I began to create a path for myself. And all the while, I'm losing out on the spiritual realm that is seeking to drive our businesses, drive our systems, drive all of it. Everything in our life that you can think of that is a problem comes down to breath. It comes down to life. And God within us has set a course for us, if we desire it, to be a part of it, to live in such a way that we as a world can begin to operate as a fully functional system. That the bad things in our life we recognize are only signs to something that is good and wholesome. That we wouldn't even know what good is without the struggle and the suffering of life. We run so hard from suffering that so many times, because we're so focused in that physical, that we get stuck there and we just lose sight of so many things that can bring forth life in us, that are born when we can begin to be thankful for the wonderful things that we do have. I love this last analogy, and then we'll cut it out for the day, and I'll leave you with this. I want to encourage you that if you are experiencing pain, if you're experiencing real struggle, if you've got sickness, illness within your body, and it's causing you this pain, maybe it's just worry, maybe you're worried about finances, maybe you're worried about your kids, who knows what that worry might be. What I want you to do is I want you to sit, just take 5 minutes, and I want you to set a timer, and I want you to give 1 minute to just completely griping out life. I can't believe that this thing is happening to me. And then I want you to take the next 4 minutes, and I want you to focus in on the breath that is within you. I want you to breathe in as deeply as you can, filling your stomach and then your chest, and breathe it in and breathe it out. And I want you to focus in on that for just a second, for those 4 minutes. And at the end, I want you to spend maybe one more minute at the end, sorry. And I want you to be focused in on the things that you are thankful for. And I want you to write them down. In fact, on one half, you can write down your gripes and complaints about life and all the things. And then on this side, I want you to write down everything that you were thankful for. First and foremost, starting with the breath. Second, starting with your heartbeat. Third, starting with the things that you can sense, that you're using your senses. Fourth, look around at life, the trees, the ground, the dirt. Look around and begin to see. Look up at the sky and begin to recognize that there's so much going on around you. And even now, just talking about it, I literally can feel the energy within my hands. I can feel the energy in my body knowing that there's something so much more to be thankful for than the small pain that's in my back. Literally, right now, I have a pain in my back. And it's one of those things that when we begin to focus on the much bigger picture and include ourselves with the community of the rest of creation, we recognize that the pains that we have really are minuscule. And they allow us to then see a much broader vision of what can be and how we can love and serve those who are around us. Listen, that's all I got for today. I would love it if you take just a moment, if this has been meaningful to you at all, if 5 minutes of it were, go back and watch it, find those 5 minutes, find that 1 minute, find that one thing, and send a message to somebody who needs to hear this. Share this video with someone and let them know about how amazing life can be. And make sure you send them a timestamp because not everybody wants to watch 30 minutes of video. But this is my first one, guys. This has been great. I've had fun. Hey, we got the first one out of the way. Stay tuned. On Monday, I've got another Facebook Live that's going to be entirely all about setting your week up in a way that's going to be beautiful for you, that's going to encourage you to live into your best life. And then again, next Friday, we are coming back again live to share in this world of what it looks like to live into your weekend in a way that allows you to start setting pace for a new life that is connected more deeply to you, who you really are within the larger self. That is us. Peace to you all. Love you. And I'm so grateful for you. And I can't wait to see you again. Bye.